British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Braden Coombs, and here are your 3 p.m. news and sports headlines. We start off with local news. Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke has announced that funds are being made available for residents who provide any information leading to convictions in extortion which affect the South Asian community. $250,000 is being put forward as an award, which is one of the largest rewards in Canadian policing history. These funds were approved by the City Council on September 10th and was announced during a media event today with the Surrey Police Service. The expectation is that numerous people will come forward with information, meaning that the money will be divided accordingly. There are currently 44 extortion files, 27 of which are shooting incidents, under investigation by the Surrey Police Service. 3 members of the Coquitlam RCMP, Constables Mersad Masbah, Ian Sullivan, and Philip Dick, are facing a code of conduct hearing. This comes after they allegedly had shared racist and sexist materials in a group chat on their personal cell phones. During this code of conduct hearing, a female RCMP officer stationed in Coquitlam says she was shocked and angry to learn about the derogatory and hurtful remarks made by the accused. The officer, whose name is not being shared due to publication ban, testified that she had never received an apology from Sullivan. The University of British Columbia is set to unveil a $45 million extension of its biodiversity center aimed at preventing species loss. The school says the completion of the extension of the BD Biodiversity Center will allow for more research space as well as room for fossil storage. The facility will also include a native plant pollinator garden and a state-of-the-art teaching and public engagement space. Research Center Director Mary O'Connor says up to 1 million species are under threat due to deforestation and other human activities. She believes the collaborations enabled by the new extension is vital to providing a solution to the issue. Vancouver's rising rent costs are no longer a threat to just renters, as small businesses are struggling to keep up with the increasing cost of living. Selena Teixeira has more on the story.
Katora Cafe is a Vancouver staple, as many people are familiar with the cafe on Broadway. It brings a unique opportunity to patrons as they can meet cats as well as adopt them. Whether it's just watching a movie, engaging in yoga, or just hanging out with the cats while sipping on the cafe's bubble tea. It's no surprise that the cost of living in Vancouver has gone up, leading to the owners narrowly keeping up with vet prices and rent. Anna Van Egan explains how community could save the cafe.
I think we've worked really hard over the last 3 years to build a strong sense of community for Katoro, and I'm hoping that these folks really see value with us and can really help to rally together and support the business, because I think we do a lot of important work that is very overlooked here. And I really think the key to success for any small business is a strong sense of community.
As we are closing in on 2026, there can still be optimism that the Katoro Cat Cafe can still remain open, bringing together a community that shares a love for cats. Selena Teixeira, BCIT News.
In other news, an overnight crash that occurred in Salmon Arm has left 1 man dead. The crash happened at around midnight. The RCMP say it was on a Highway 1 just east of 10th Avenue. A male pedestrian was struck by an oncoming vehicle. Police say the paramedics on scene witnessed the pedestrian go into cardiac arrest after being struck. It is reported that the man died on the scene. The driver of the vehicle is cooperating with authorities and impairment is not deemed to be a cause. BC is reporting a new record high for its forecasted deficit for the first quarter of the 2025-2026, with the elimination of the consumer carbon tax. The province is projecting the deficit to reach almost $11.6 billion, which is almost $700 million higher than the original projection. The projections released by Finance Minister Brenda Bailey also says higher deficits are expected throughout 2028 due to a dip in its anticipated economic growth. BC is also projecting its debt to rise to $155 billion this fiscal year. In national news, Newfoundland and Labrador's Premier John Hogan has officially triggered a provincial election. Voters will be headed to the polls for the election on October 14th. Hogan says Newfoundland and Labrador hopes his party will win another majority government so they can continue the work they've already started.
I think we're really at a crossroads here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We've been filled with optimism and hope and pride in this province for as long as I can remember, and really for generations. And I think a lot of us feel we're still trying to get to where we can be and where we deserve to be.
Investigators are heading to the site of a plane crash that killed 4 people in remote northeastern Manitoba over the weekend. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada says investigators should arrive in St. Teresa Point Nation by the end of the week to probe the accident that saw a bush plane crash approximately 40 kilometers south of the community while on its way to make Peace Lake. 2 men aged 53 and 49 and 2 women who were both 50, all from St. Teresa Point, were pronounced dead at the scene in Saturday's crash. Now over to international news. DNA evidence found near the scene of Charlie Kirk's shooting matches with the suspect, FBI directors say. FBI Director Kash Patel says DNA on a towel wrapped around a rifle found near where conservative activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated matches that of the 22-year-old accused in the killing. Charlie Kirk's funeral will be held at a stadium in Arizona on Sunday. President Donald Trump is expected to speak at the service. Trump says he's seen footage of the latest U.S. strike on a Venezuelan vessel. The president told reporters that General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has shown him a clip of a USA military strike carried out earlier on Monday that says targeted a drug-carrying vessel from Venezuela. When asked about the proof the U.S. has that the vessel was carrying drugs, Trump replied, "We have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place." September 15th is globally recognized as Lymphoma Awareness Day. As reporter Leah Warren found out, it's important to pay attention to symptoms of the disease.
Over 100,000 Canadians are living with lymphoma, says Antonella Risa, CEO of Lymphoma Canada. She told me that symptoms of the disease include swollen lymph nodes, reoccurring fevers, easy bruising or bleeding, excessive sweating, rash, and fatigue. These may sound like the common flu, but Risa urges the public to pay attention to prolonged symptoms.
We ask patients to be cognizant if some of these symptoms are lasting for a little bit longer than you think a viral infection or a bacterial infection would be, that they go see their doctor.
Lymphoma affects people of all ages and is the 5th most common cancer diagnosis in Canada. Lymphoma Canada and Lymphoma Awareness Day work to bring recognition to this prevalent disease. Leah Warren, BCIT News.
Now on to sports. Vancouver Whitecaps star Thomas Mueller has been named the MLS Player of the Week. This comes after the German forward scored a hat-trick and recorded an assist in the Caps' dominant 7-0 win over Philadelphia Union this past weekend. Mueller's extraordinary performance happened on his 36th birthday. Now over to baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays are in action today as they take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 4:30 p.m. today. With just 13 games remaining before the postseason, every game is huge stakes for the Jays. As of now, the Blue Jays sit atop the American League East with a record of 87-62. The New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox are both hot on their trail, though, with the Yankees just being 4 games back and the Red Sox being 5.5 games back. Getting the nod on the mound tonight is rookie pitching prospect Trey Yesavage. This will be his first ever game in the big leagues. Yesavage is excited and emotional for his first game.
Yeah, so yesterday afternoon got pulled into the manager's office and gave me the option of shutting down or coming up here. And I thought it'd be a better decision to come up here and pitch for the Blue Jays. I was very emotional at first. And then after that, I was almost like numb. Like I didn't know how to feel. So, I mean, it was a whirlwind of emotions. It's insane. I've always dreamed about this and it's finally come true. So it's awesome.
South of the border, the Seattle Mariners will be scoreboard watching as the Houston Astros take on the Texas Rangers. With their win yesterday, the Mariners are currently just 1 game ahead of the Astros for the top spot in the AL West. Both the Astros and the Mariners have just 12 games remaining in the regular season. The Mariners will return to action tomorrow as they look to extend their win streak to the double digits. Now over to football. Normally there's just one game to report on for Monday night, but today there's two NFL games on the slate. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Houston Texans will kick things off at 4 o'clock. The Texans will look to bounce back after their disappointing 14-9 loss against the LA Rams. Houston's passing game will need to improve significantly for this to happen, as their lead receiver last game just had 32 yards. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Bucs are hoping to start off their season strong with a 2-game win streak. Wide receiver Chris Godwin is ruled out for the game as he is still recovering from his injury. The game is in Houston and it is set to start at 4 p.m. And following that game, the Los Angeles Chargers will be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in what will be a heated divisional matchup. Raiders' new head coach Pete Carroll will be facing off against his head coach rival Jim Harbaugh for the first time since leaving the Seattle Seahawks. The two coaches used to go against each other regularly when Carroll was the head coach of the Seahawks and Harbaugh was the coach of the 49ers. Raiders star tight end Brock Bowers is expected to play after being doubtful following his injury last weekend. Both teams are 1-0 to start the season and will look to remain undefeated. Now over to hockey, the Vancouver Giants have signed Lance McCloskey to a WHL scholarship and development agreement. The right-shot defenseman played his last season at Fairmont Prep in Anaheim. The 2007-born star recorded 30 goals and 31 assists in just 47 games last season. Now in weather, keep those sweaters off, as the sun will continue to shine as the day progresses. We've now reached our high of the day at 19 degrees, and it isn't expected to go down until 7 p.m. For tomorrow, the sun will continue to stay out with a high of 22 degrees and a low of 13. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Braden Coombs, and that was your 3 p.m. headlines. Stay tuned for Jonah Jung's headlines at 3:30.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
When I tell people that I study journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world, because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,